Have you ever felt the sting of being called selfish just because you decided to prioritize yourself? Some people celebrate your growth, but others, well, they resent it. And it's not because you've wronged them. It's because your progress forces them to confront their own stagnation. I've been there. The moment I stopped overextending myself to please others, the backlash was immediate. Friends drifted away. Accusations of selfishness and ingratitude piled up. It wasn't about me, it was about losing the version of me they could manipulate, depend on, or take advantage of. This is where Stoic philosophy comes into play. Stoicism teaches us that we're not responsible for others' reactions to our boundaries. We're only responsible for our own peace, growth, and resilience. When you embrace this mindset, you'll stop letting guilt or manipulation dictate your choices. In this video, I'll share the most effective ways to set boundaries, protect your energy, and reclaim your sense of self-worth, all through Stoic principles. You'll learn how to stand firm in your truth, embrace solitude as a path to inner peace, and recognize the difference between genuine relationships and toxic dependencies. So if you're ready to stop apologizing for choosing yourself, you're in the right place. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And let me know in the comments, how have you handled the challenges of growth? Let's start a conversation. 1. Establishing personal boundaries. When you decide to set boundaries, you're not just protecting your peace, you're redefining how people treat you. And while it's liberating, it's also one of the hardest steps in personal growth. Why? Because boundaries challenge the status quo. I remember a friend of mine who always borrowed money but never returned it. For years I didn't think much of it. I told myself, they're my friend, and I should help. But as time passed, the pattern became clear. They were taking advantage of my generosity. When I finally told them I wouldn't lend money anymore, their reaction was anger, not understanding. That moment taught me something profound. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary. Boundaries are the foundation of self-respect. Without them, you risk being drained emotionally, financially, and mentally. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will call you selfish or ungrateful the moment you say no. But remember this, their anger is not about you. It's about losing the version of you that was convenient for them. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom applies to boundaries. You can't control how others react, but you can control what you tolerate. When you say yes to everyone, you're saying no to yourself. Over time, this leads to burnout, resentment, and a loss of self-worth. Think about the small sacrifices you make daily, agreeing to tasks you don't have time for, accepting behaviors that cross your limits, or prioritizing others' needs at the expense of your own. Each small yes chips away at your energy, leaving little for your own growth and peace. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone will celebrate your boundaries. Some will feel entitled to the version of you that always prioritized them. They might use guilt, manipulation, or even nostalgia to pull you back. For example, when I stopped overextending myself for my friend, they accused me of changing. And they were right, I had changed. I had stopped allowing myself to be taken for granted. Epictetus teaches us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your response to pushback defines whether your boundaries stand strong or crumble. Setting boundaries requires clarity, communication, and consistency. Reflect on areas in your life where you feel drained or disrespected. These are signs that boundaries are missing. When you communicate your limits, be direct but respectful. Instead of saying, "You always take advantage of me," try, "I've decided not to lend money anymore because it's important for me to manage my finances responsibly." Consistency is key. People might test your boundaries, hoping you'll revert to old patterns. Stand firm. Consistency teaches others that you mean what you say. At first, setting boundaries feels isolating. You might lose people who benefited from your lack of limits. But over time, you'll notice something remarkable. The relationships that remain are healthier, more supportive, and truly reciprocal. Think of boundaries as a filter, separating genuine connections from toxic dependencies. When you stop pouring into people who only take, you have more energy to invest in yourself and those who uplift you. As Seneca said, associate with those who make you better. Boundaries ensure that the people in your life align with your values and respect your worth. In this journey of growth, remember, you're not being selfish, you're choosing self-respect. Boundaries are your way of saying, I value myself enough to protect my peace, and while some may resist, the peace that follows is worth every difficult conversation. This is your life, your energy, and your growth. Guard it fiercely. 2. Your growth challenges their comfort zone. Growth is transformative, but it can also be disruptive. When you start evolving, it doesn't just affect you, it impacts the people around you. Suddenly, your decision to prioritize personal growth becomes a mirror reflecting your own stagnation. And for many, that's a confrontation they're not ready to face. Think about it. When you embrace change, it shifts the dynamic they've grown comfortable with. You were predictable, dependable, and always there to meet their needs. But the moment you begin to reclaim your time, energy, and purpose, it disrupts the balance. To them, it feels like betrayal. In truth, it's liberation. As you grow, you may notice the subtle ways people resist your transformation. They might say things like, "You're not the same person anymore," as though staying stagnant is a virtue. They might even accuse you of abandoning them or losing sight of what's important. But what they fail to understand is that your growth isn't about them. It's about you. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, your progress might provoke judgment or resentment, but those reactions belong to others, not to you. Their discomfort with your evolution is a reflection of their unwillingness to change, not a measure of your worth. When you step out of your comfort zone, you inherently challenge theirs. Your courage to pursue a better version of yourself forces them to confront what they've been avoiding, whether it's their unfulfilled potential, unresolved insecurities, or their dependency on you remaining the same. That discomfort can manifest as criticism, distance, or even anger. But none of it should deter you from moving forward. It's important to remember that growth often requires letting go. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, you have to assemble your life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible, and no one can stop you from that. The more intentional you become with your actions, the clearer it becomes who belongs in your life and who doesn't. As you embrace this journey, remind yourself that not everyone will understand your path, and that's okay. You are not responsible for carrying others' discomfort or resentment. It is not your job to shrink yourself to make others feel comfortable. Your only obligation is to honor your values, respect your boundaries, and pursue your purpose unapologetically. Growth is uncomfortable because it disrupts the familiar, but it is also liberating because it opens doors to possibilities you've never imagined. Those who truly care about you will adapt to the new version of you. They will see your progress not as a threat, but as an inspiration. These are the relationships worth nurturing, the ones that celebrate your evolution instead of clinging to the past. And for those who resist or resent your growth, let them go. As Seneca reminds us, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Your journey is too valuable to be weighed down by those who refuse to grow alongside you. Yes, your growth will challenge their comfort zone. Yes, it will provoke reactions you didn't expect. But none of that should make you second-guess your decision to evolve. Growth is your right, your responsibility, and ultimately your legacy. Let them call you selfish. Let them accuse you of changing. Let them hold on to the past if that's where they're most comfortable. But don't let their resistance hold you back. This is your life, your journey, and your opportunity to become the person you were always meant to be. And if that makes others uncomfortable, let it. Their discomfort is not your burden to bear. 3. Manipulation and guilt tactics. Not long ago, I found myself in a moment of frustration. I had been working long hours, trying to balance the demands of my career and family. One day, a friend reached out, asking me to join them for a weekend trip. When I explained that my schedule wouldn't allow it, they responded with a disappointed tone. "You've changed. You only care about yourself now." Another time, I refused to help an acquaintance with something urgent because I had a pressing deadline. They launched into a story about how difficult their life was, emphasizing that I was the only person they could rely on. The guilt hit me hard, but deep down, I knew I wasn't in the wrong. This is the power of manipulation and guilt tactics. When people lose their ability to control you, they often resort to emotional ploys. They'll paint themselves as victims or remind you of all the things they've done for you in the past. The goal is simple: to make you feel so guilty that you revert to your old patterns, putting their needs above your own. Stoicism provides clarity in these moments. Epictetus once said, "It is not the events themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about those events." Their words are just that, words. How you interpret and respond to them is entirely within your control. Manipulation only works if you let it. Guilt is one of the most potent tools manipulators use because it taps into your sense of empathy and obligation. They'll say things like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me," or "You're the only one I can count on." At first, these words might make you doubt yourself. But remember, genuine relationships don't rely on guilt or coercion to thrive. Another tactic is nostalgia. People will reminisce about better times, selectively highlighting moments that make you feel like you owe them something. "Remember how much fun we used to have?" they'll say. But nostalgia is a double-edged sword. While it can remind you of good times, it often conveniently omits the reasons why you've grown apart or the sacrifices you made to maintain those relationships. Then there are accusations, statements designed to put you on the defensive. "You've changed," they might say, as if growth were something to be ashamed of. Or, "You only care about yourself now," as though prioritizing your well-being is a betrayal. These words are not a reflection of your character, but of their inability to accept the new boundaries you've established. Marcus Aurelius offers wisdom here. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When faced with guilt, accusations, or nostalgia, pause. Take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, is this truly about me, or is it about their discomfort with my growth? The truth is that people who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries and your need to prioritize yourself. They won't use guilt as a weapon or manipulate your emotions to serve their agenda. Instead, they'll celebrate your progress, even if it means you're less available to them. Dealing with manipulation and guilt requires both awareness and courage. You must recognize when someone is using these tactics and choose not to engage. You're not obligated to explain yourself or justify your decisions to anyone who tries to make you feel small for growing. Remember this: guilt is a feeling, not a fact. It's a signal that someone is attempting to shift responsibility onto you. But your life, your time, and your energy are yours to manage. As Seneca wisely noted, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Surround yourself with those who uplift you, not those who hold you back with emotional chains. When manipulation knocks on your door, respond with clarity and confidence. When guilt tries to cloud your judgment, remind yourself of your worth. And when accusations arise, stand firm in the knowledge that growth is not a betrayal, but a necessary step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. 4. Selfishness versus self-worth. There is a distinct difference between selfishness and self-worth, though many people fail to see it. The moment you decide to prioritize your own well-being, some may accuse you of being selfish. But is it selfish to respect your needs, set boundaries, or choose peace over chaos? No, it's an act of self-respect, a recognition of your worth. Imagine this: you're constantly pouring into others, giving your time, energy, and resources until you're depleted. Yet, when you pause to recharge, the same people you've helped accuse you of thinking only of yourself. Their discomfort doesn't stem from your actions, but from their unmet expectations. They are upset that you're no longer the version of yourself that always said yes, no matter the cost. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Self-worth begins with knowing who you are and honoring that truth. It means valuing your time, energy, and emotions enough to protect them, even if others don't approve. Selfishness, on the other hand, is rooted in taking from others without regard for their well-being. But self-worth? It's about recognizing your own needs and meeting them with care. When you prioritize your mental health, goals, or peace, you're not taking anything away from anyone else. You're simply giving yourself the attention you deserve. The pushback you face often comes from people who benefit from your lack of boundaries. They might say, "You've changed," or "You only care about yourself now." These words are meant to make you question your growth, to draw you back into old patterns of overextending yourself. But remember, their words are not about you. They're about their inability to adapt to the new you. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have to assemble your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's building a life of intention, one step at a time. Think about the last time you put yourself first. Maybe it was declining an invitation to protect your energy, or saying no to a request that didn't align with your priorities. How did it feel? Likely, it felt liberating, but also unfamiliar, especially if you've spent years putting others first. This discomfort is a natural part of reclaiming your self-worth, and yet there's a stigma around choosing yourself. Society often glorifies self-sacrifice, as though ignoring your needs is a badge of honor. But what good are you to anyone else if you're running on empty? As Seneca wisely stated, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." True abundance comes from knowing when to give and when to hold back, from being secure in your decisions, even when others disagree. The truth is, you don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You don't need to justify your choices to people who refuse to understand them. Self-worth is not up for debate. It's a quiet confidence that allows you to walk away from what doesn't serve you without guilt or regret. When you choose self-worth over the approval of others, something remarkable happens. You begin to attract relationships and opportunities that align with your values. The people who stay in your life will respect your boundaries and celebrate your growth. And those who don't, they were never meant to stay. Prioritizing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's a declaration that you matter, that your time and energy are precious. The journey may be challenging, but the peace that follows is worth every difficult decision. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to live authentically, to honor your worth, and to build a life that reflects your values. Never apologize for choosing yourself, because in doing so, you give others permission to do the same. 5. Genuine relationships versus dependency. Imagine this, a relative who only calls when they need money. At first, you oblige, telling yourself it's the right thing to do. But over time, the pattern becomes undeniable. Their calls aren't about you, they're about what you can provide. One day, you decide to set boundaries. You explain, kindly but firmly, that you can no longer lend them money. Their response isn't gratitude for your honesty, it's anger and disappointment. This is the difference between genuine relationships and dependency. Genuine relationships thrive on mutual respect and shared growth. Dependency, on the other hand, is built on convenience. When someone relies on you to meet their needs without reciprocation, it's not a relationship, it's an imbalance. Epictetus wisely noted, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Dependency feeds on excessive wants, someone else's time, energy, or resources, while genuine relationships appreciate what's given freely. When you begin to grow, the people who value you for who you are will celebrate your progress. They'll adapt to the changes in your life, respecting your boundaries and cheering for your success. But those who only valued you for what you could do for them will resist. They'll view your evolution as a threat to the dynamic that benefited them. It's important to recognize these dynamics for what they are. Dependency often masks itself as love or friendship, but it's conditional. It thrives on what you provide, not who you are. Genuine relationships, however, are unconditional. They honor your growth and respect your autonomy. When someone lashes out because you've set boundaries or prioritized yourself, their anger is not about losing you. It's about losing access to the benefits you once provided. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Recognizing dependency allows you to reclaim your peace and focus on nurturing relationships that uplift rather than drain you. Take a moment to reflect on the people in your life. Who celebrates your wins without hesitation? who respects your boundaries without guilt or manipulation. These are the individuals who truly care for you. Genuine relationships are a two-way street, where support and effort flow both ways. Dependency, however, is one-sided, a dynamic that demands more than it gives. Setting boundaries in these situations can be painful. It's never easy to confront someone who has relied on you for so long, especially when you've allowed the pattern to persist. But as Seneca said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Growth requires surrounding yourself with individuals who inspire, challenge, and uplift you. When you let go of dependency-driven relationships, you create space for genuine connections to flourish. These relationships don't just respect your growth, they fuel it. They're the ones that encourage you to be the best version of yourself, without conditions or expectations. It's natural to feel conflicted when letting go of dependency. Guilt might creep in, and nostalgia might tempt you to revert to old patterns. But remember, a relationship that doesn't honor your growth is not one you should hold on to. As your life evolves, so too should the people in it. Dependency keeps you tethered to the past, while genuine relationships propel you toward the future. By choosing to prioritize your self-worth and growth, you're not only honoring yourself, but also setting a standard for the kind of connections you deserve. In the end, the relationships that matter most are those built on mutual respect, trust, and unconditional support. Let go of those that drain you. Embrace those that uplift you. Your energy is too valuable to waste on anything less than genuine connection. 6. Embracing change and solitude. I still remember the moment it hit me. I had been declining invitations from old friends, unable to join their gatherings because my priorities had shifted. One day I realized the invitations stopped coming. The laughter we once shared was replaced by silence. At first it stung. I wondered if I had made a mistake and if my growth had cost me the connections I once held dear. But as time passed, I began to understand that change is often accompanied by solitude, and that's not a punishment, it's an opportunity. Change is never easy. It requires us to step away from the familiar, to let go of relationships, habits, or environments that no longer serve us. This can feel isolating, especially when those around us fail to understand our journey. But as Marcus Aurelius wrote, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Solitude is not something to fear. It is a sanctuary where growth begins. When you embrace change, you challenge the status quo, both within yourself and in your relationships. Not everyone will celebrate your evolution. Some may feel threatened, as though your transformation is a rejection of them. Others may drift away, unable to reconcile the new you with the version of you they once knew. This is natural, and it's okay. The truth is that not all connections are meant to last a lifetime. Some people enter your life for a season, teaching you lessons or offering support during a specific chapter. When that chapter ends, holding on to those connections can hinder your growth. As Seneca wisely said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Letting go is not a loss. It's a necessary step toward what lies ahead. Solitude, though difficult at first, is where you find clarity. It's in the quiet moments that you rediscover who you are and what you want. You begin to see your life not as a reflection of others' expectations, but as a canvas for your own vision. The noise of external opinions fades, and in its place comes a sense of peace. For me, this clarity came slowly. At first, I mourned the friendships that faded. I questioned whether my choices were worth the loneliness. But over time, I realized that the people who truly valued me would respect my growth, even if it meant seeing less of me. And those who didn't? Their absence made room for connections that aligned with my values. The change also teaches resilience. When you step into the unknown, you prove to yourself that you're capable of navigating life's uncertainties. You learn to trust your intuition and to make decisions based on your own needs rather than the approval of others. This is the essence of inner peace, not a life free from challenges, but a mind unshaken by them. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The same applies to solitude. You can view it as a void, a loss, or you can see it as a gift, a space to grow, to heal, and to prepare for what's next. Embracing change is an act of courage. It's choosing to let go of the familiar to make way for the extraordinary. It's trusting that the peace you're seeking is worth the temporary discomfort. And while the journey may feel lonely at times, remember that solitude is where transformation begins. In the end, the relationships and opportunities that truly belong in your life will find their way to you. They will honor your growth, celebrate your transformation, and align with your vision. Until then, embrace the stillness. Let it guide you toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. 7. Your growth is an investment in your future. Growth is not a declaration to the world. It's a commitment to yourself. It's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about investing in your long-term peace, fulfillment, and purpose. When people react negatively to your evolution, it's often because your vision no longer aligns with theirs. They see your growth as a departure from the comfort and convenience they've come to expect. I remember a moment that changed my perspective on growth. I had just turned down an opportunity to help someone with a task because it didn't align with my priorities. Their response was sharp. "You're so focused on yourself now, you've forgotten where you came from." Those words stung at first, but they forced me to reflect. Was I being selfish, or was I finally prioritizing my future? The answer was clear. My growth wasn't about abandoning others. It was about building a foundation for the life I wanted to create. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Growth is about action. It's about aligning your choices with your values, even when those choices create distance between you and others. The journey of growth demands sacrifices. You may have to let go of relationships that drain you or habits that no longer serve you. This can feel like a loss, but in reality, it's an investment in something far greater: your future. Think of a gardener pruning a tree. The act of cutting may seem harsh, but it's necessary for the tree to thrive. Your life works the same way. When you prioritize your peace, dreams, and values, you're not betraying anyone. You're taking steps toward fulfillment. The people who truly care about you will understand this. They'll celebrate your wins, even if it means seeing less of you. But those who resist your growth, those who accuse you of changing or forgetting where you came from, are revealing more about themselves than about you. Epictetus teaches us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Growth requires clarity of vision. What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? 10 years? Every decision you make today is a step toward or away from that vision. Choosing yourself, your values, and your peace is not selfish. It's essential for building a meaningful life. However, growth is rarely easy. It's often uncomfortable, requiring you to confront your fears, let go of the familiar, and face criticism from those who don't understand your path. But discomfort is a small price to pay for the rewards that come with living authentically. One of the hardest lessons in growth is realizing that not everyone is meant to join you on your journey. Some people will only see your value when it benefits them. Others will resist your progress because it forces them to confront their own stagnation. As Seneca reminds us, the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. Waiting for others to accept your growth is a form of expectancy. Live your truth now, not when it's convenient for others. Your growth is a gift to your future self. Every boundary you set, every toxic relationship you release, and every dream you pursue is an investment in the person you're becoming. And while the road may be lonely at times, the destination is worth every sacrifice. When you look back on your life, you won't regret the moments you chose yourself. You'll regret the times you compromised your values to please others or delayed your dreams out of fear. Growth isn't easy, but it's necessary. It's your legacy, your contribution, and your ultimate act of self-respect. So choose growth, choose peace, and trust that every step you take is leading you closer to the life you were meant to live. Growth is a journey, not a destination. It's a series of deliberate choices to prioritize your peace, protect your energy, and honor your values. Along the way, you may face resistance. Some people will celebrate your transformation, while others will resent it. But remember, their discomfort is not your burden to carry. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your growth is not a betrayal of the past, but an investment in your future. It's about stepping into the person you were always meant to be, regardless of who understands or approves. Through setting boundaries, embracing change, and letting go of dependency, you create space for genuine relationships and meaningful opportunities. You're not here to fulfill others' expectations or play a role that no longer serves you. You're here to live authentically, guided by your inner peace and personal growth. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced resistance when choosing yourself? Did you lose connections, or did you find strength in solitude? Share your story in the comments below. Your experiences might inspire someone else who's navigating a similar path. And remember this: growth is a quiet revolution, one choice at a time. Choose to live intentionally. Choose to honor your worth. And above all, choose to be the person you know you're capable of becoming. The world needs that version of you, fully realized and unapologetically authentic.